Radio V. Radio in TV. Radio in TV.
He's absolutely Jason, he's absolutely gay. He'll absolutely brighten up the darkest rainy day. He's funny and loves movies, he's smart and he's a Jew. He's an actor and an activist and wants to hear from you.
Hey everybody, welcome to Absolute Jason Stuart with a little late start today, but you won't know this if you're listening to the show through an archive or just because you want to watch it. And my guest today is somebody I'm very excited about, who I've known for a number of years through our activism work at the Screen Actors Guild AFTRA, the star of Kojak, the star of Knots Landing, the star of the new show House of Lies, Kevin Dobson.
Hi,
Welcome
good
to the
afternoon.
show.
Thank you very much.
It's so funny to have you on the show because we've sort of known each other, you know, in passing at the union for years, and I've always wanted to have you on the show. And I have to confess, I have to do a little confession here before we even start. So, now there's a movie you did with Sharon Gless.
Hard Hat and Legs.
Yes, and that was the first time that I was sort of introduced to you. And at a very young age, had a very inappropriate crush on an older man. And I thought, God, this is just too great. It was
Had
like,
I known,
really?
Things might have changed. I
Oh,
don't know.
okay. Don't start because I'm going to start to cry in the corner. But I just thought, when I was going through doing all the research about you, I was thinking to myself, you had a certain charisma, you know, about you in your early work when you first started. And I'm thinking that's what people saw. I mean, you started off on the soaps, which is really, you got to be hot to be on the soaps. And especially in those days, you had to have something that made people want to watch. You know, and you had this sort of rough kind of, you're from New York, I'm guessing.
Yes, Queens, Jackson Heights.
Yeah, Brooklyn. And, well, not really Brooklyn, the Bronx, but we were in Brooklyn. And I moved out here when I was younger, but I have a very much of a New York
How does
feel.
that work? You're from the Bronx, but you lived in Brooklyn?
I was born in the Bronx in Westchester Hospital, and then we lived in Brooklyn.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. Look
Yeah.
at see how they're in New York. They're just angry all of a sudden. Yeah. What does that mean?
Wait,
What does that mean? What
How
are
do you do
talking
that? Would
Yeah,
you live on the borderline of that?
Yeah, what'd you
Where
do?
was
Just
it?
drive
One
over?
side of the house? What?
What? Yeah, she had the baby and she was in a cab. Was she on the way? Was she what the fuck was she doing, man? You know, I just played one of these in a movie called Dirty with Chaz Bono in his first role as a man. Isn't that interesting?
Oh.
Yeah. Well, Roger Guinevere Smith also stars in the film. So your first film after doing a couple soaps, you did, what is it? The Doctors and...
I was on a soap called The Doctors. I was doing under fives. I thought, okay, this is the
Wow.
beginning, you know? And banging around New York for a couple of years. I was studying with Sandy Meisner for...
wow.
I spent over 3 years with him twice a week at his private place on
So for those at home,
56th
Sandy
Street.
Meisner is probably one of the most renowned acting coaches in New York and LA from the...
Right. You've probably heard of Strasberg and that group. Well, the group theater was started by Strasberg and Sandy Meisner.
And he had the Neighborhood Playhouse?
Yes, he ran
Okay.
the Neighborhood Playhouse, as did Bill Alderson, who has a studio just down the street from here on
really?
El Centro, upstairs there.
Such good, because it taught
He
moment by
ran the Neighborhood Playhouse for 20
did he?
years, Bill Alderson, yeah.
and it taught moment to moment work. It really taught some of the best stuff.
I think it makes the type of work that I do a little easier. I mean, Strasberg was methodology, recall things, you know, and I looked at that, and I thought Meisner's technique was better for me, better suited for me.
I do it all depending on the part. I don't even know sometimes.
Well, it's
Do you
instinct.
find that you change?
It just comes to
Yeah.
instinct, you know, and how you digest that role, and coordinate with the director and the object of the show, what you're doing,
Right,
the
'cause
overall story of it, and then commit to it. It's total confidence, like a golf shot or in baseball. You got to get in that box and be totally confident and relaxed at the same time.
That's the word. Right there is relaxed.
Yeah.
The more relaxed, and people would never think that, but I find that's the key for me, is the more relaxed, the more I can be there, the more I know the people. Do you go in there like when you're doing a guest shot on something, do you ever go in early just to meet people and watch others shooting? Or
No.
I do that all the time.
No, I've done so much of it. What's strange about that? What you bring up? Now I've had a lot of work on series, and now I'm being a guest on certain shows. The dialogue and the whole approach is different, where you're supporting the storyline rather than being the storyline.
Right.
You know, so that's a little strange. to get. That's a little getting used to. You just don't show up and say the lines. At least I don't anyway. I try
No.
not to. And so in doing that now, like House of Lies, I had an opportunity to do 4 shows. And
That's the
working
show
with that group.
That's on Showtime, everybody, with Don Cheadle. And
Right.
who's the beautiful girl on the show? I don't remember either.
Christian.
Jake will tell us in 2 seconds. He's great at this. He's like got this.
Chastain.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And a really good actress
family.
too.
Yeah. She's terrific. Been around a long time. Young. Been around a long time though. Has had come up through the ranks.
So what was your approach in getting that? Because that's a really high profile show. It's one of the what I call a get.
It was just a casting situation, and I went and did like everyone else is doing. You get online, so to speak, and go in and I do what
he didn't
what I
actually
think
get
of.
on a line. You go in and you meet with the director and the producers, and you audition for the show with the casting directors, and they put you on tape.
Yeah, they put me on tape. The casting directors, and then they moved forward, and so they invited me back on the same day. So, and with that, then I read
Kristen
with
Bell.
everybody.
Sorry.
Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell.
Yeah.
And then I read with everybody, and they decided then, okay.
Well, they were
so
lucky.
There we went.
And the fact that they still have to read you, which is really completely nuts
Well,
to me. With the amount of television you've done. You've had your own series, Shannon.
Shannon. That was terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
Kojak.
I know I have to do it, so why battle it,
Of course.
You got to go in there, and you walk into the room, and, oh, my God, you see people that you've watched for years sitting there going in the room, and you say, well, that's a slam dunk. He's going to get it. Or,
Always.
It's just an instinct. Then you got to,
Back away.
disassociate yourself with that attitude that's in the room, because everybody's doing their thing. Whether they incorporate you into it or not. Some are more open and loud, so to speak. Others are more quiet and gentle. But that's their personalities, and that's what they project, and that's what they're going to read as, And I just stay away from all of that stuff.
And what'd you play on the show? Tell us.
I owned a casino in Vegas, and a little different,
For you?
My approach to it was a little different, because the guys that were going in for it were more character, an obvious character look, and I brought what I do to it, and it worked for me. It worked for me. So I thought, oh, here we go, man. I got a shot here. We got 4 shows here, and we did it well, and it looked like it opened the door to other things. So they did the whole last season, the following season, without me. So, and then doing this season without me. So, but it worked. It worked for me. And that's
What was it
all
like
I can
to work with
expect.
Don Cheadle?
Well, he's terrific. It's nice to make contact with someone where you're getting something.
Well, he's a
instead of-
player, yeah.
Yeah, he's a player.
He's in there. He produced Crash.
Yeah, and that whole he's all of it.
Rwanda,
And that Rwanda was incredible.
brilliant. Oscar-nominated actor.
Oh yeah.
He's in that whole, Soderbergh group of people, which I think
You
you
know,
would fit into great.
He has such an aura about him and such a presence. Fortunately for me, my first shot was with Telly Savalas. Who was bigger than that at that time? The top character actor.
Well,
in
before
the
you go to
business.
that, I want
Okay.
to talk about when I want to start at the beginning. So you did Clute with Jane Fonda.
That's a whole story.
And a tiny little part, I'm guessing, because
Yeah.
it says A Man at Bar with Jane Fonda in one of my favorite all-time movies. It never plays on television. I don't know why. Gene Stapleton had a little role in that. Of course,
Roy
Schneider, Donald Sutherland. It's directed by the late Alan J. Capula. I mean, I love that movie. It went in a great thriller. And what I was to always understand about that movie is all of her scenes in the therapy session were done improvisationally.
Oh.
And people in those days, because a lot of films in the 70s were done improvisationally, and people didn't talk about that. But tell us about working with Jane Fonda and what that whole experience was like.
Well, the experience was really terrific. I like telling this story if you have an extra minute.
Yeah, that's why you're here.
I was hired, some background stuff. This took place, if you
So
recall.
you got hired as a
in-
background person.
Yeah.
How
yeah.
great, and you were bumped up.
Yeah. And so the night before, I was hired to play a pimp. And just be there,
Right.
not do anything really, but be there. And so that night before, I got off work working as a waiter and bartender in a place on 34th Street in Lexington, between 3rd and Lex, called Brews. And so I flagged down a couple of guys, and they were obviously pimps. And so we had a nice conversation, about the work and all that stuff. And 2 cop cars pull up, and they jam these guys. They block them out. They thought I set them up. I was telling them to come, to see the set, come over to the set, work with me, because I want to do this and stuff. And they gave me the dirtiest looks. I think if they had a weapon in their hands, it'd be in me someplace. Anyway, so off it went. The next day, I'm at this, it was called the Cathedral over on the west side. And it was a converted church, and it was a nightclub. So now I'm part of the background, but I stood back and I watched how Pakula was setting up the shot. And Fonda had to walk through this crowd and sit at this table. Now I'm standing there, and this guy walks up to the first aid dude who's standing next to Pakula and says, "Hey, listen, the stand-in has to go. He's got a call, and it's an emergency call. Who do we get to do that?" I said, "I'll do it," and I sat down. Yeah, okay, because they were ready for the shot.
Right.
Now I sit down. She comes walking in, falls in my lap. Hello. It's me and Jane Fonda. Here we go. I got a shot
Who
here.
at the time was one of the hottest gals.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So I was happy with that. It's a nice story to tell up-and-coming people to, don't give up on that stuff. It all works.
She was
Everybody
terrific,
has a part.
I bet.
Yeah, it was a wonderful experience.
Well, great. We're going to
that
take
whole
a
thing.
break, and we're going to come back here with Kevin Dobson. We're going to talk about how Kojak came about. We'll be back in just a minute. Please stay with us.
And be sure to watch my show Inside Metal, which airs live every Tuesday from 3 to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on T Radio V. I'm going to be bringing in the greatest heavy metal artists live right here in the studio. Once again, every week at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every Tuesday right here at TRadioV.com. Radio in TV.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This your boy Crazy Bone.
Man, I'm the bum Keith G, man.
And whenever you sitting at home and can't shake the monkey off your back,
Yeah.
then just know every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m.
right.
You can tune in to the Quick Fix and get your fix on, man.
Right here on TRadioV.com, baby.
Radio and TV.
Now, how they gonna see us on the radio then?
Radio, I don't know. Or is it TV and radio?
But it's
one of them.
I gotta figure this radio and TV thing out though, bro. I don't understand. I'm gonna tell my mom how she gonna see
Get
us.
it together.
Radio V.
We're back. It's Politically Naughty with Mary Kay on TRadioV.com. I don't feel like it would be as big of a deal these days if I,
You'd be surprised. The most powerful weapon in the world is
This is a no-holds-barred conversation.
So anyway, everybody started drinking my bath water. I loved it.
That is amazing.
Kitten, you need a movie about your life.
If
If
maybe-
Mary Carey was governor, we wouldn't be having these problems in America.
Exactly.
Just saying.
Exactly. I know.
Get Politically Naughty with Mary Carey, Mondays at 4 p.m. on T Radio V.
Hey, my fellow thoughters out there. I'm Charles Shaughnessy. Check out my new show, Here's a Thought, with Charles Shaughnessy, August the 7th, 3 p.m. PST, right here on T Radio V. Now, you know I have a lot to say, but I want to hear what you have to say. So tune in, grab your phones, call me, tweet me, email me in the studio, and let's get this conversation going. Here's a Thought, starting August the 7th, 3 p.m. PST, right here on T Radio V. That's radio in TV.
Hey, we're back at Absolutely Jason Stewart with my guest, Kevin Dobson here. We're talking about the beginnings of his career, and I see here your credits, it's Mod Squad, The Rookies, Emergency, Ironside. So you then went on to guest in 4 of the biggest shows of the time in the 70s, and then came Kojak.
Yeah.
So what was the trajectory? How did you? Did an agent find you, or what happened? Because this obviously something happened all in 72 rather.
Do you remember Monique James?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
She loved hot guys. Were you a contract player at Universal?
Well, that was part of the conversation.
Yeah.
We'll sign you. Nobody knows you. Well, up into that.
How'd they find you?
Well, I started a little theater group over here. My manager, my agent at the time was Robert Walker from Century Artists. He's since passed away. Wonderful man. And he was good friends with Monique James. That meant nothing.
Monique James, for those at home, was one of the
sorry.
biggest casting directors at Universal Studios.
She ran the West Coast. Dorothy Dorothy Kilgallen ran the East Coast. Universal.
Was she related to
Kilgallen?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, the sisters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
the columnist, yeah.
Yeah, I was making some inroads there. Now, in 1973, when Kojak happened, prior to that, there was the 25th anniversary of Streetcar Named Desire. And starring in that was John Voight playing Stanley Kowalski.
On Broadway, right?
Faye Dunaway was in it.
Yes.
No, it was here at the Amundsen.
At the Amundsen, yeah.
So I put my act together, and I went out to be the understudy. I mean, they got John Voight, Academy Award guy, for Stanley.
Oh, wow. Did you get it?
I got it.
Wow.
And, I had to beat out the incumbent, the friend, all that stuff, and I got it.
Did you play one of the smaller poker guys?
I know. I was the sailor in the very beginning. Hey, where's the three deuces?
Oh, right.
was the line. And then the play went on, and I
That
was
was
out,
your first
and then came the curtain call, and I was out there in the Navy uniform. You had to think, look at this guy up here. Look at this sailor. He must be loaded,
One line.
Two lines, man.
Sorry, a little different than my first line. Was playing gay dude number one, give me back my purse. Someone stole it. That's my first line in the Lost Emperor. Yeah. Not the last, the Lost. And the film was definitely lost, yeah. Give me back my purse. Go ahead, yeah. Mr. Hot
we
Sailor.
we had a press preview night, and I met Tennessee Williams then and spent some time with him.
Oh, he
and
must
then
have
I went
loved you.
This is how we met. I was...
In the dressing room?
No, in the bathroom.
No.
At the urinal.
Oh, my God.
I had walked in before I went back to the lighting booth to watch the show. It's a preview night. And I figured, let me go to the bathroom first. And no one was in there. He was in there. I stand up to the urinal, and I looked to my left, and I did a double take. And he looked, and he went, and we're standing there doing what we're doing.
Well, I'm sure.
And I said, Tennessee Williams, I'm understudying Stanley. He looks at me, yeah, you could do it. That was the greatest compliment in my life at that moment.
Was he looking at your face? That's all.
Yes, he was. Yes, nothing.
That's the way you remember.
That was it. That's what I remember. And that's what happened. And we had a brief conversation. He wished me well, and I thanked him, and off I went. And saw him after that once or twice. And so I did the show. I never got a chance to go on. But I did an understudy. Anyway, that preview night, I met the critics. I made it a point to go out and meet who the critics were. They were pointed out to me. I introduced myself, and I said, if I get a chance to go on, and I call you, will you come and see it? That's how confident I was, thinking, this is my break. This is the shot.
Wow.
It's going to be a last-minute thing. Yeah, what an interesting idea. Give me a call. One or two seemed like they meant it. So it ran for 7 weeks. In the 6th week, I invited a critic to view the understudy rehearsal.
Oh, wow.
And he wrote it up. And it was very
Who was the critic?
I forget.
Was it Lawrence? There was a guy there that was real...
It wasn't McNulty.
Wow.
And this guy had moved to Vegas.
Lawrence Christian.
There you go.
That's the guy, right?
And so he wrote it up. And it was a nice compliment. Now, that was in March of 73. I'm sorry to bore you with this.
No.
That was in March of 73.
I find this terribly exciting.
So here I am, and the Rolling Stones, their big hit was You Can't Always Get What You Want.
Right.
And every night I'd walk to my borrowed car down the end of the street at Grand in that parking lot opposite the Disney Hall right now,
Uh-huh.
And I'd be singing that, You Can't Always Get What You Want, But you got to keep trying. You got to keep going. So... that ended in April of 73.
Well, you can't get through this without a Faye Dunaway story.
Well, I chose not to meet her. I did meet her briefly, and I would always be nice and say hello and
One
do
of the
that
most
stuff.
beautiful women in the world.
Incredible. And my thing was, Jason, I'm going to meet her on stage for the first time. And that's how I went about it. If I get on, we're going to work together, and it's going to be raw. And that's how confident I was.
Oh, my
that's
God.
How
Just the exact opposite of me. Give me back my purse.
Oh my God!
I've
So-
still never seen the film. It's too degrading.
So after the streetcar, and I'm banging my head against the wall, and I get a couple of lines on Mod Squad, and then I hear about from a friend of mine that Telly Savalas was going to do a New York Cop. I figured, geez, okay, how do I get in on this? I call my agent. He says he makes a call. I went to his office the next day, stood in front of him. I said, did you call? What'd they say?
Just for those at home, this is when
Oh.
people actually used to meet people in person and talk to them. It's very odd. I know a lot of you kids don't know what we're talking about. People would see someone's face and then words would come out. Yeah.
Yeah. So he said, oh, I'll call now. So he called over there and set up an
Oh, and he
appointment.
actually talked to someone verbally.
Yeah, yeah. He called Monique and called Monique James, set up an appointment for me. And I went in to meet Matthew Rapp and Jim McAdams, who were the co-executive producers of it, and they turned me down. And I pushed again and pushed again and pushed again, and I went in to see them again, and they saw a piece of film, the Mod Squad I did, and they said definitely not. Now, during this time, I had called it. All I had.
Did he know that you were the sailor? And
Yeah.
did they see the picture in the paper and everything?
All I had on me was my Levi shirt, Levi jeans, dungarees, and a pair of boots. That's what I owned. I was on a borrowed motorcycle. I had to borrow a friend's car to go to the studio, and I said, "Bring the car, but bring the suit, because I know you just bought a suit." And he brought his three-piece suit over with the vest and the tie and socks, and I went on the auditions. So they turned me down twice. I said to my agent, I said, I don't care what I have to do, but they're gonna see me again. This is right for me. This is absolutely right. So
They told you twice no, and you
Twice.
still didn't take it.
No, I knew I was right. I knew it was right. So the arrangement was made. Milt Harriman was the
Big guy.
Big guy, and so I meet with Milt. He brings me down to meet them again. This was all arranged by Monique James, I'm sure. It was. It was. So I go in, and I'm in, I meet them, and I tell you, one has his chin on his hand, elbow bent, and the other's just sitting back with his arms folded as though to say, you again,
Well,
And
I would have said that too. Honey,
Yeah.
you again. It's enough.
They said, why don't we, get this started? And I thought, I can't work like this. It's so negative. Oh, yeah. Use what's in the room. Use the atmosphere. Use that energy. And I did. Okay. I was 9 guys that day, and I was one of them. Came down to between me and another guy, and the other guy was under contract. So when I got the call, they said, okay, we'd like to see what you can do here. CBS doesn't know you, Telly Savalas doesn't know you, Universal doesn't know you, Monique knows you, and we're going to offer you a contract. We'll have you at least 6 months if this doesn't work out. How long is the contract? They said, well, it's a contract, and who do I pay? So I said, yeah, sure. That night, while they were deciding.
This is when Universal used to do contract players.
Yeah.
They were the last place to
Oh.
do that in the 70s.
And I was the last guy. So that night, it was a Thursday night, I'll never forget it. That night, I had to return the car that I was in, and I was going up Loma Vista to go to a friend's house whose couch I was sleeping on, and I ran out of gas at the top of Loma Vista. I had to coast back down, tell the car back behind there, down to Santa Monica, walk down to this gas station by Doheny, and asked the guy to give me a gallon of gas, because he pumped a gallon of gas. He said 47 cents. I had 46, and he thought I beat him out of $1,000, So I walked back to the car, put the gas in the car, returned the can he loaned me.
This is like the Elaine Stritch story.
And went back, and that was it. The next day, I was flat broke. I couldn't rub 2 pennies together. I couldn't ask my folks or my family for another $10. It was nothing.
$10.
I was at the end of it, And the next day, I had a 7-year contract and a TV series.
Wow.
Ta-da. So they gave me 2 shows, and then they would decide. So here I am, 2 shows.
Give me back my purse.
No way. Oh, my God. And 3 shows, 4 shows, and I got it, And the first day I met Telly, I was introduced to him through Matthew Rapp, and I'm walking to the set with Telly. So I'm following Telly, Matthew Rapp, and as we're walking, I look off to the left, and there are 3 director chairs there. And the middle one said, Telly Savalas. The one on the right said Matthew Rapp, the executive producer, and the one on the left said Kevin Dobson. I just about lost it at that moment.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I just kept going to the set. Richard Donner was the director of that show.
Richard Donner, who directed Superman.
Yeah, he went on. I think that might have been his last series show.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Big.
And then it started, you know, and Telly and I really got along well.
And how did
I
that-
learned my place. We were downtown. You have to go?
No, we're gonna take a break, but we'll go. Finish
So
what you're
we're
saying.
downtown doing a shot, and we're about to break into a warehouse. So I'm very athletic and stuff. So we do 2 rehearsals, and I bolt down, I break through the door. We did it twice, and now we're ready to do the shot. And the camera's ready, everybody's ready. I get a tap on my shoulder, my right shoulder, and it's Telly. I turn around and say, "Yeah." He says, "I go first." So for the next 5 years, I was 1 step to the right and 1 to the rear. You know, just pumping them out, baby, and I was there.
Oh man!
You saw him, you saw me, and you know it was terrific. We had
And
a
what?
great,
So your whole
terrific
life
experience.
changed, because then is when.
Well, I was under contract. The
So
show's #1 in the worldwide. You
And
know,
it
and I'm
changed-
bringing home $167. You know, unlike you can't fathom that today, but you know, it was a paycheck, but it wasn't about the paycheck. It was about establishing myself.
Oh my God! It changed your life overnight.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about Knots Landing, and we'll be back in just a second on Absolute Jason Stewart with my guest Kevin Dobson. Please stay with us.
I'm Laura Samoza,
I'm Sterling Gardner.
and we are Between the Sheets every Monday here, 3 p.m. TRadioV.com.
T Radio V.
That's right, it's T Radio V, Radio in TV. What is that face?
She wants to see our hands.
That's Radio in TV. Wah, 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 wah.
We're not a couple.
Hi, this is Danny Woodburn, and you're watching T Radio V. Did it come up? Is it all right? There we go. He's good.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This your boy Crazy Bone.
Man, I'm the bum Keith G, man.
And whenever you sitting at home and can't shake the monkey off your back,
Yeah.
then just know every Wednesday from 7 to 9
That's
p.m.
right.
you can tune in to the Quick Fix and get your fix on, man.
Right here on TRadioV.com, baby.
Radio and TV.
Dawg, how they gonna see us on the radio then?
Radio, I don't know. Or is it TV and radio?
But it's
one of them.
I gotta figure this radio and TV thing out though, bro. I don't understand. I'm gonna tell my mom how she gonna see
Get
us.
it together.
Hi, I'm Sheriff John Bonnell. You're watching T Radio. Radio and TV? What? That was perfect. Why are you asking me to do this after 12 drinks?
I wonder every once in a while, who would it be worth anything to me? I was under contract.
Hey, we're back at Absolute Jason Stewart with my guest Kevin Dobson. We're going to start off and just take a check of Look at You. And my pal Michelle Lee, she used to come to the Improv all the time with her husband, when she was married to David Rappaport, her second husband. And she would come to the Fred Rappaport. David Rappaport's the casting director, and she would come to the Improv all the time and hang out. And that's how I got to know her. Let's take a look at that clip from Knots Landing, which is the first one, and it'll show some scenes. Here we go. And it's gonna be on the screen in just a second.
What were you trying to tell me?
What?
What were you trying to say out on the beach?
Here we
Said
are.
I could have more time.
I take it back.
Look at those lighting.
Take it back. Well, we can't talk about it now.
Yeah, when? I'm tired of all the excuses. First, I'm running around feeling guilty for all that's happened. Then you build up my hopes and you don't follow through. Am I supposed to feel grateful, huh? Or is it maybe, just maybe, if I'm a good boy, you let me back into your life? Well, I've had it. Either we get together or we don't, but we're going to make the decision now.
Karen, Gary needs to see you right away.
There's the
Tell
gay
him she's
guy.
busy.
Who is it?
I don't know. It's a part that I couldn't have gotten.
That's it, Karen. Everything out in the open. No pulled punches, no holds bars.
No, Mac, it's just a little crazy around here right now.
Fine, we'll go up the coast for a couple of days.
No, I'm sorry. That's not
Well,
a very
forget it.
Okay.
I love that. What is she wearing on the set of a
construction site?
She looks like she's going to a dinner party.
Not a hard hat, but a hard vest.
I love it. You just
She's going to do Pippin.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh,
I just heard that yesterday.
Oh, how wonderful. I'm going to call her and congratulate her. That's great. So she's going to play the Irene Ryan role, which is hysterically funny.
She's great.
Oh,
she's a wonderful human being.
Very, very sweet. And just so much fun to interview. And still so beautiful.
Oh, yeah. She's great. She's got legs from here to there, man.
Oh,
it's beautiful.
Yeah? Now, what was it like working with her? How did that show come about?
Oh, that was really, we had a communication that was really nice, you know.
Well, there was
how
obviously
that show
sexual
came
energy
about?
between the two of you.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Yeah. Do what I tell you to do. What are you doing? You're going to go do this. You're going to do that. You're going to do this.
Hey, who's this
and
guy?
She goes like this, I don't know. What should I do, Mac? You're going to do what I tell you to do.
Hey,
You're going to
over
go over
here.
there. You're right, do it.
You're going with me, you're going without me. What are you going to do?
3 days, we'll be on the beach. Wing bang. Make me something to eat. Anything you say, Mac.
That was interesting how that came about, you know, and I was asked.
So it was an offer.
Yeah.
I love that. Because that's the job that made your career. I mean, 10 years on that show, right?
Well, I thought as that happened, my wife Susan was pregnant with our second child, and when that was offered, I thought I was doing a movie with Barbra Streisand and Gene Hackman.
Called, let me tell you, All Night Long, and you played her.
Were you in that looking for your purse?
No.
No.
That's the movie I would have loved to. Yeah, that was the movie that Sue Minger's husband, the French director, did.
The
only, I think she's had, Barbra Streisand's had two
Tremont.
films that didn't
Jean-Claude Tremont.
The two films that didn't do well. All Night Long and Up the Sandbox.
Yeah, she didn't sing in it. She sang off key.
Yeah, it was really weird.
And so she played my wife in
I
it.
think it's a lovely movie because I watched it again recently.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
really cute. And she's really good in it.
Yeah, good cast.
Gene
really
Hackman,
solid, you know.
Diane Ladd, Dennis Quaid. You played her husband.
Yes.
And you thought that you were a movie star.
Well, I thought, no. I thought, all right, this will kick me off into movies.
Because in those days, it was very separate.
Yeah, yeah. And with that kind of credit, and look who I'm working with and holding my own, and, you know, okay, I got a shot here. But here we are expecting our second child, and I thought, at the same time, I was getting offered Knots Landing, and I figured, what am I doing with Knots Landing? The ratings are kind of slipping, and, you know, but if I join it and it does anything, it looks like I had something to do with that, you know? So I joined it in the 4th season, and it picked up a little bit. And then they added to the cast, and we ran for 14 seasons.
Wow.
I was on it for 10.
Wow.
It was terrific. So yeah, it was grateful, man. So many things happened during that run, too. The work I was privileged to do with the veterans. I was chairman of the National Salute to Hospitalized Veterans.
Was your character a veteran?
Yeah.
I know that. I knew that.
Yeah. Vietnam veteran. But I didn't go to Vietnam when I was in the Army. I was in military police, but I stayed in the States. And so it provided a lot of things, you know, a nice home for me and raised a family. And now we're back at it again. The kids are grown, and I'm looking for a job.
Welcome to the life of an actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What was it like? What was Streisand like to work with?
Oh, beautiful. So nice. You know, it was just so professional, so nice. And what a beautiful woman. I'll never forget her radiant skin, you know, just beautiful.
But she also was a replacement, which is so bizarre. Lisa Eichhorn was cast in that role originally.
Right. So they ran into a problem where she had a conflict of some kind. It just didn't work out. And bingo. But Streisand was on a movie, and she was going to finish in 3 weeks. They had to start this. So I don't know, you know, Universal and stuff. But Jean-Claude Tremont was the director. Now, he's talking with a French accent, and I'm going, wait a minute. So I get him on the side and say, where were you from? And he gives me some town in France. I said, nah, before that. He says, actually, I was born in the Bronx, and I moved from the Bronx because I heard some New York through that.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yes, absolutely.
He was a New York Jew?
Yeah.
And he was lying about the French?
I don't know. Well, he was French. He brought up in France somehow, you know, but came from New York.
Because that's
what he told me.
In the play about Sue Mengers, They say that was a relationship that ended Streisand and because the film was such a big bomb, Ola. But she also apparently made her biggest payday. She made $4 million for doing that movie. And in those days, nobody
here's the story.
Nobody made that kind of money.
So they secure Streisand. She comes to the set one day in a white Rolls-Royce Corniche convertible. And I'm standing with Gene Hackman. He says, wow, look at that. I said, yeah, they just gave it to her.
Just gave it to her?
He said, that's what he said. They gave it to her? Yeah, you know. Next day.
He has one.
He's got a tan one. He pulls up in a tan Rolls-Royce convertible.
Did you get a Toyota? Something?
I didn't get jack.
Man. Not a push card?
I got a bag of cement.
Right. Oh, God. But she was really playful to work with as an actress.
Wonderful, very giving, very, just secure.
Yeah,
secure.
yeah.
And we worked off of one another very well.
And have you seen her over the years, or have you gone to see any
twice.
of her concerts?
No, but I would run into like her former husband, Elliot Gould, from time to time. And
right.
Mention her to me and meet her.
They're apparently really good friends.
Yeah, it gets to that.
Yeah, well, they have the same kid. When you have a kid and you got over the years, well, not a kid anymore. He's a friend of mine.
Oh.
Her son, yeah. So you also got to work with some of the most amazing. You got to work with Charlton Heston on Midway.
Well, not only that. I mean, the movie Midway seemed like everybody was in Midway, and I was the one that going around the country promoting it, along with George Gay, the character that I played in it.
George
Gay. G-A-Y.
No.
Yeah, George Gay.
What were they thinking?
It was. They weren't aware.
Well, it was 1976. Crazy, huh?
Jack Smite directed it, and I was privileged to tour with George Gay and go around the country. Now, what was unique about George Gay is that
he wasn't gay.
He wasn't. He flew for TWA after the military, but he was the lone survivor of Torpedo Squadron 8 that was shot down by the Japanese, and he went in to drink after unloading his torpedo, and went across the bow of the ship that he hit. He couldn't tell if he hit it or not, but I assume that he did because this guy was just right on. And he was in the drink. He was in the ocean for 30 hours. And
wow.
But as Yamamoto, as the ship was going, Yamamoto was on the bridge looking back, and they made eye contact. This is what George Gay explained to me. They made eye contact, and he just followed them. Now, 30 hours later, in the movie, a scouter plane comes by. They spot him. They land. They row over, get him in the little boat, and take him to safety. Well, what actually happened was Yamamoto sent a crew back looking for him, while the scouter plane, looking for the Japanese, was looking for the fleet. They saw George Gay. They were unarmed. The crew that Yamamoto sent back after to find George Gay to kill him, they were firing at the plane as the plane went down to get George Gay. Now, they didn't stop. They hit the water, slowed down, scooped him out of the water while being fired upon, and off they went. And
this is more interesting. This is more interesting than the movie.
Well, what happened was when George Gay spotted the scouter plane, they signaled to coming down. He was motioning with his arm. He had a bullet in his right arm. He had been shot, so he's motioning that the fleet went that way, like you would do. Hey, the bad guys went that way. He's motioning to them.
I would have just been running for help. Right at this
in
point.
The ocean, right?
I'd say, I'm Jewish. My mother won't let me. That's when I would have running for help. Please help me. Where's Charlton Heston? Part the waters. What was he like?
So So the crew radioed in the direction that the Japanese were heading, and that was the start of the Battle of Midway.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's how it started. Now,
I was just wondering.
Working with Charlton Heston was incredible, and we didn't have scenes together, but we toured together. Me, George Gay, Henry Fonda, Charlton Heston, and we'd have lunch together.
Did you tell
we'd travel
him
in the
Jane sat on my lap? Did you tell him the story? Jane Clute. When she was.
Fonda remembered me as the sailor in Streetcar.
No.
He remembered that to me. I said, yeah, you were the sailor. Huh? I mean, coming from Henry Fonda.
Oh, yeah, just that he was, and an iconic actor who's just, his performances in so many movies, the one, of course.
I didn't know how to be friends with
those
icons, it was professionally, holding my own, where I come from, and now I'm, with these guys. And we had lunch in the war room at the Pentagon.
And there's a big drop in those days between things, wasn't there? Much more than there is now.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, so how did Shannon come about, getting your own series? Because that was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it was. And
that was after Kojak, am I correct?
Right after about a year.
Before Knots Landing and before Barbara.
Almost a year and a half after Kojak. It's something that I put together, got Jim Aubrey to be the
after
executive.
Barbara. I call it, your career is before Barbara, after Barbara.
AB. BD and AB.
Yeah.
And made it to the air, and that kind of show still works. Young guy, young New York cop loses his wife and daughter, and she's from San Francisco, and the in-laws are up there, and they're about to retire, and he takes a vacation with his son. So it's a fish out of water, and he helps the San Francisco Police Department. They want him to stay. Now, he had so many elements. He had a single dad. He had a young kid coming up, becoming a teenager. So he had a single dad. Now he's going to get out into life. You have San Francisco, which is a character of the city, the character anyway. And then you had the in-laws that were about to retire. So you had the senior element also. And it started to work, but the ratings would just...
I bet the ratings were great compared, if it was on today, please.
Oh, yeah, it would go today. But it was on opposite Dynasty, just as Dynasty was taking off. Not that that mattered, but, CBS thought, we'll go something else, And then a year later, then I got Knots Landing.
Let's take a break, and we're going to come right back here with Kevin Dobson and talk about what it's like actually, the senior committee and what it's like being older and working in showbiz. That's certainly something I need to learn about because it's happening to me as we speak. We'll be back in just a second. Please stay with us.
Hey geeks, wake up! We've got big news. I'm not gonna mumble this time. Geekscape, the long-running movie video game... Let me do one more. Hey geeks, we got big news! Geekscape, your favorite show about movies, video games, comics, and TV is coming to T-Radio V, Monday, October 6th. And it'll be on every Monday from then on, 7 p.m. Until the apocalypse happens, we're all eaten by zombies.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Edie Don from The Real Talk Show. I want y'all to check me out every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Real life, real music, real sex, real everything. It's a real world. Check us out every Tuesday, The Real Talk Show, right here on T-Radio V, radio and TV.
So good to finally meet you in the flesh, sir. We just wanted to, get your take on these moving forward.
That's why I'm talking to you. Social media.
Yes, it's coming. Slotomania.
My brother-in-law's company patented something called the magnetic stent. It's a big deal in bypass surgery. Now, I turned down an opportunity to get in on the ground floor. You know why? I got nothing against making money. Don't get me wrong. But I love what I do.
You don't have to sell that to me, I understand. But you don't have to make a decision right away if you just allow us to.
No, thank you. What can I do for you?
You can give me your word.
What deal are we making?
Online gambling.
The deal I already said no to.
That's right.
Jesus, Marty, you're relentless. I'm in. Guillermo's had a good run. But if you've been downstairs, you know something's got to give.
Yeah.
Is it a major remodel? Do I start fresh from a new location?
Does the new Emerald stick with an old school vibe, or does it go in the direction of a place like the Vibrato?
The Vibrato?
Yes, sir.
Fuck that shitty casino.
I guess.
And the carpetbagger fucking built it. I'm saying there's a lot to the case that didn't make sense. There was another murder that wasn't attributed to the trash man. But I think it was his work. A woman named Jennifer Ravitch. She predated the other murders by about 5 years, but just like your victim, she wasn't found in a bag or bound.
That was great. That was still the same charm, the same confidence. Honestly, it doesn't go away. I mean, they're lucky to have you on these shows, I think.
Thanks.
And I know that you are also on the senior committee at the...
Are we on?
Yeah, we are.
Oh.
This is it. You don't have to put that on if you want. We're at the senior committee at the Screen Actors Guild AFTRA, and that's how we met. I co-chair the LGBT committee, and are you the chair still or no?
I'm on the board,
Yeah.
but unfortunately,
it's really
I guess
hard.
they're trying to reorganize it or something because there's a lack of communication for the board and what we're doing about seniors, other than what you read in the news,
Well,
and
it's
how difficult it is. Like Helen Mirren and her partner just started a group over in London for people like me to have a place to go and work. More senior people that have come.
She's
through
doing
the-
that?
Yeah, that just
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, and I'm involved with a theater over in North Hollywood called the Group Repertory Theater,
Mhm.
and I direct a bunch of stuff over there, and it's really difficult to find something to do. I mean, where I'm on stage, but but it's really a good group, and so I involve myself that way. It's like I'm doing this show right now, and it's just in-house show, but it's Edmund. Written by David
Oh, yeah,
Mamet.
yeah.
So I'm directing our group in that, and we're
That's
just
a
gonna
big
put it
one.
on.
That's
It's fascinating.
But I mean,
man.
it's a big piece. It's
Yeah.
it's not an easy piece.
No. So I'm active that way. I mean, talk about what seniors should be doing other than complaining about it. You got to stay active. We got to keep the tools alive. Keep those instincts.
Well, it's also changing
kinda
the
fresh.
style of acting. Not Standing is certainly a different style of acting than what you did in House of Lies.
Yeah.
It's a whole different thing. I mean, in your day, when you'd have the sitcoms and you'd have the cop and doctor shows. That was it.
Yeah.
And now, when you're on, every show has got a different style. Mad Men isn't the same as House of Lies, and House of Lies isn't the same as Nurse Jackie, and Nurse Jackie isn't the same as Californication. They're all different kinds of acting and different kinds of styles.
Dude, the way interesting you bring that up, because the way I went about Mac on Knots Landing was, people would say, "Oh, you're the lawyer. You play the lawyer." I say, "No, I play husband." And my objective for me, Kevin, my thing about it was family. Here I meet the girl of my dreams, quote unquote. And suddenly I have a family, and I was all about what do I do how do I best serve the family. And,
So you made it more
the
personal,
community,
and especially
and the
being a
community.
dad and
I
a
was
husband, two
I was
kids.
not so much for the little guy, but I was for the guy, the neighbor. I was for the one who's struggling, and that's what I like. And that's what I like about being on the seniors committee, of which I don't get enough activity. So I involve myself more with the Motion Picture Television Fund, the Motion Picture Home, and I bring groups out there to entertain our residents out there, the people that have really made the industry what it is as we know it today. They help maintain that foundation that they grew up in, and they live out there. So I think we should all, as entertainers, and connect with all the unions, and really make that even better than what it is. And it's a unique place, that Motion Picture Home.
Well, they sort of do that for the gays. It's in Palm Springs. It's like the whole.
It's called Palm Springs?
Yeah, it's called Palm Springs. That's where we all go. Well, we got 2 minutes. So tell us. So how do people get a hold of you if they want to? Do you have a website or?
KevinDobson.biz. I rarely go to it, but I'm Facebook and.
So if anybody wants to hire him, just go to jasonstewart.com. STUART.
Roger Neal has a PR firm. Roger Neal and manages a handful of people, and that's who I'm with. Roger Neal, and he's a terrific guy, and good energy and aggressive, and that's what we need.
Oh, definitely. Are you a big supporter of PR, having a publicist?
When you need it. There's nothing I can do now, really. But when you're rocking and rolling, when you have something to promote, you got to get in the middle.
Did you do a lot of press for House of Lies?
No.
Oh.
No, that took care of itself.
Oh, it did?
Showtime is a subscription thing.
Right.
And so that, I talk about it. People bring it up. So
I think you were terrific on it. I was very pleased because it showed a little different side, and it also shows that an actor who's a journeyman, who's able to slide into what's happening today instead of people thinking of, Knots Landing, which was a certain style. The difference between the two tapes is really obvious in terms of how much things have changed in 30 years. Thank you so much for being on this show.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure.
And, along with what we've talked about, I involved myself with a veterans organization, especially the Jewish War veterans, the original veteran group that was established in 1892. They were the first group. And they're very active, very strong group. And when you involve yourself with veteran groups, really look into it.
Well, thank you so much. Everybody, thanks so much. Until next week, please stay with us. Watch all the stuff that's going on here at T Radio V. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Love your country. Thank a vet.
Oh, honey, please don't. Oh, honey, please don't. Stop.
You are watching T Radio V. Radio and TV.